Madam Speaker, a lot has been said this evening with respect to the various different measures that Canada has put in place to help Ukraine and indeed come together with the world in terms of our response to the outrageous aggression that's coming from Russia right now, and in particular Putin. I think it's very important to put on the record, at least from my perspective, I don't believe that the Russian people are bad. I just think that Vladimir Putin is a monster. You know, we've talked about the various different things that have been put in place, whether it's sanctions, whether it's money that's flowed to Ukraine, whether it's the different personnel that's been sent over as part of Operation Reassurance. What we know from, you know, the history over the last decade or so of Canada's involvement is that there's been an opportunity to really help Ukrainian people prepare for what has unfortunately come. You know, what I really want to talk about in the short amount of time that I have, Madam Speaker, is the incredible resolve that we've seen come from Ukrainian people. The member from Selkirk Interlake Eastman talked in his speech about the manner in which Ukrainian people were responding to what's going on. And he compared that to the manner in which we are witnessing Russian troops engage in. You know, the member from Selkirk Interlake Eastman specifically said, when you are under a dictatorship and you're being told what to do, you're never going to have the same resolve as those that are fighting for something that they believe in and that they so passionately are chasing after. It reminds me of when I was on the Defense Committee and I traveled to Ukraine as part of a study that we were doing on Operations Unifier and Reassurance. The member from Selkirk Interlake Eastman was there as well, and he would remember that at one point we went to meet with the new police chief of Kyiv. We met him in the center of town, and he couldn't have been more than 35, 37 years old. And it was remarkable to listen to this young individual talk about the future of Ukraine. And indeed, what we know is that going back to 2014 and the revolution that took place, it was led by future generations. It was led by the youth. It was a youth movement that changed the course of Ukraine back in 2014. And what we saw, what we heard from this police chief, this young police chief, is he basically told us, he said, you know, things were done differently in the past. Remnants of the former Soviet Union still existed in Ukraine, and they literally had to fire almost every police officer who was over the age of 40 just because they did things differently. And that's not the future that the younger generations wanted. They knew what they were going for, they knew how to chase after it, and they knew what had to be done. You know, if you want to talk about the resolve of the Ukrainian people versus the resolve of those that are under a dictatorship, look no further than the former president, one of the former presidents of Ukraine. It was Yanukovych, who was president during the uprising. And what did he do? He fled the country as a result of a youth revolution. He literally got up and left because of what was going on. And you compare that to the president of Ukraine today, Zelensky, he won't go anywhere. He's steadfast in his commitment to staying with his people and staying in Ukraine to see this through to the end. And you know, if nothing can show the difference of what the member from Selkirk Interlake Eastman was talking about in his speech more than just the approach in the two different presidents, one that was basically a puppet of Putin and one that is for the people, it's that. And so I genuinely believe that regardless of what happens, regardless of the wars that are fought today, the battles that might be won or lost today, at the end of the day, Ukrainian people are going to get what they want. They're going to get this freedom because they've been fighting for it for a long time. They have the resolve to see this through to the end, and it is clear that they will win their freedoms at the end of the day, regardless of these temporary impositions that Putin is putting in the way. Thank you, Madam Speaker.